Hi everyone, and welcome back to another class on my YouTube channel, 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐤𝐞. Today's class we're going to be opening up into the neck, the shoulders, the back, the front of the body and the hips. So doing pretty much a full and a whole body stretch, and we'll start by taking it a little bit slower before we move into the full sequence, hopefully by that time having opened up what's necessary to feel really good when we get into those deeper stretches. Thank you for joining me. Let's get started. So today's a little bit different. It actually looks like I'm recording at night, but I'm recording nice and early in the morning. And the reason being is because I thought I was meant to cover a yoga class today. It turns out I'm meant to be covering it in a month from now. And so instead, I've come home, set up my little yoga recording studio, and I'm going to teach you guys a class. So let's get to it. That's why it's dark. We're going to start on our backs, and I'd like you to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined butterfly pose, or supine butterfly pose rather. The reason I like to start with this one is because it's really good at opening up into the hips and getting that part of the body stretched right at the start of the class. So just make yourself comfortable. If you've got some bricks you'd like to bring under the knees, you can. And take your hand, one of them onto your belly, one of them onto your chest, and start to take some deep breaths in and out. And just feel your hands rise up as you breathe in, and feel them soften and your body soften as you breathe out. Find a flow to your breath. And just notice how you're feeling right now. Notice how your body's feeling. And see if you can notice how your mind is feeling as well. And by how your mind is feeling, I mean like, where does your mental space go right now? Does it take you to a good space, a bad space, or somewhere in between? Or somewhere else? How are your emotions going right now? How have they been lately? And see if you can come back to focusing on your breath. Breathe in a little bit deeper. And this time exhale out a little bit longer, making sure that you get all of the air out of your lungs. And just take a couple more breaths here, just noticing what's going on for you. And today I'd like to introduce the concept of the observer. It's a yoga technique that we practice sometimes in meditation or shavasana, or when we open a class. And the observer is just a technique used to notice where your thoughts, emotions, and feelings are coming from without tying yourself to them and without being kind of swept away with them. And so just notice the next thought that you kind of encounter in your mind, the next thought that pops up into your brain. And instead of flowing along with it, instead of kind of chasing it down its rabbit hole, see if you can notice where that thought manifested from within you. Sometimes thoughts kind of pop up in the form of a voice or an idea. Just notice where in you that idea or that voice is coming from. Where does it live? Where did it come from? And just be a little bit curious as to where that space is for you. I sort of find that it comes from behind the eyes or in the center of the head. That's how I describe it. But that might be completely different for you. Or maybe the same. And see if you can focus on that space where you believe your thoughts are coming from. And anytime you find yourself getting carried away down another thought rabbit hole, just bring yourself back to focusing on that space where those thoughts are coming from. Practicing this observer technique eventually allows you to kind of understand the nature of thoughts in their separation from you, in being separate from you. You can do the same with your feelings, or the things that distract you, like the external world, noises, sounds, etc. And it kind of helps you to switch off and to tune into your mind a little bit more. Let's just take 5 more deep breaths in and out. Just allow whatever comes up to come up. Enjoy the feeling of your breath, the feeling of grounding into your mat, into the ground. And notice if you can follow those thoughts and then bring yourself back to the space where they originate from. If you've got an intention you'd like to set for the class today, feel free to do so. And then you can start to wriggle your fingers and your toes. And before you lift your knees up, I'd like you to reach your arms up to the ceiling, take a full breath in, and lift your shoulders up off the floor, press into the back of your head. And as you exhale, just relax your shoulders down. That's it, 2 more. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, lowering down. And last one, full breath in, reach it up. And exhale, lower it down. Good, take your arms onto your elbows. If your knees hurt, you can lift them together. If your hips or your knees hurt or your legs hurt or they're tight, lift them together. And take your hands onto your elbows and bring your hands back behind your head. And I'd like you to take 2 deep breaths into the front of the body. So what I mean by that is breathe into the belly, the pelvis, and the chest. Feel that space expand, feel the space around the armpits open up, and exhale all of the air out. 1 more like this, breathing in, and breathing out. Good, and then start to wriggle your fingers and your toes. Notice which arm is on top of the other, and just change the fold of the hands. So just bring the other hand on top, the other arm on top, and taking 2 breaths in and out here. Stretching to the front of the body, just using the breath. This makes me kind of want to stretch as though I would if I was in bed, getting up in the morning. I was wanting to extend my arms out, so that's what I'm going to do. And from here, I'd like you to take your arms back beside you and lift your knees together, lift your legs together, draw your legs onto your chest and give them a gentle squeeze before circling them a couple of times. Massaging the lower back and the hips and stretching into that lower back region, and then circle the other way and notice if it feels different and where you feel that difference as you change the rotation of the hips or of the circular motion. Okay, and from here I'd like you to drop your feet down onto the floor. We're going to come up into bridge, but I'd like you to take your hands beside you with your feet, with your hands holding the sides of your mat. And then just ground down into your feet, ground down into your arms and your sitting bones and your shoulders. And before you lift up, take a full breath in and out. Breathing into the front body, exhaling to press down into the floor with your limbs. And on your next breath in, start by lifting your hips up off the floor, lifting that tailbone up off the floor, reaching it up towards the ceiling as you roll your spine up off the ground. And once you make your way up, you'll probably lift your chest towards your chin. If your chin and your chest are touching, I'd like you to lift your chin away from you up to the ceiling or up to the sky. And hold here for 3 breaths. As you breathe in, lift up higher. Breathe into the front of the belly, the pelvis, the chest. And as you breathe out, ground down into the floor, press into your hands, your arms, your feet. 2 more breaths. One more. Good. On your next breath in, just press up a little higher still. And as you breathe out, roll your spine down onto the ground. Take your time and see if you can get each vertebrae touching the ground one after another. Something that helps you do this is to draw the navel in, which is like the muscles around the belly. Rolling the spine onto the ground. Slowly engaging the muscles you need to bring yourself onto the floor. Good. From here, we're going to take our knees onto our chest again, give them a gentle squeeze in, and then take your hands underneath your legs and just rock yourself up into a seated position at the top of your mat. Ground down into your feet and your sitting bones, and just before we do anything else, I'd like you to take your hands back onto the belly and the chest and take 3 deep breaths to ground down. Just notice how you're feeling. And notice how that front of the body is feeling. See if you can press your hands out with your breath and maybe practice being the observer. I find that over the course of a class, my mind takes me to so many different places. And sometimes I get attached to those places and float away to them. And sometimes I don't. But when I do get attached and float away, using that observing technique, just noticing where my thoughts or my feelings are coming from, can really help ground me back into the practice a little bit quicker and help me feel a little bit more stable in my daily life as well as in my yoga practice. Alrighty. From here, we're going to take our hands onto our knees. I'd like you to breathe into that front belly again, front body again. And as you exhale, just drop yourself down towards the right side and circle out in front of you and up the other way. We're just going to do 2 more rotations like that. And what we're looking for is a stretch into the lower back. If you sit all day, stand all day, I sit all day for work, I find that this part of me gets really tight. And when this gets tight, your hamstrings get tight. When your hamstrings get tight, your lower back gets tight. And then you get tight in the spine, tightness in the spine, tightness in the shoulders. It's not fun. And circle the other way. And so by opening the space up nice and slow, we're making sure that we don't jam into it, that we don't stretch into it too hard and cause an injury. And that's why at the start of yoga classes, we usually begin a little slower and in the middle and towards the end. Alrighty, bring yourselves up. Inhale, lift your shoulders up into your neck. Squeeze your shoulder blades back behind you and then roll them down. 2 more like that, breathing in. And out. And in. And out. And change direction, so squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting them up, and then rolling them forward. Good. 2 more. That's it. And last one, releasing into the neck, releasing into the shoulders. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up, breathing in. And exhale, sweep them down, breathing out. 2 more. Inhale, breathing in. And exhale, sweep them down. Final one, reach it up. And from here, I want you to interlace your fingers, and as you exhale, press your palms up. So turning your palms up, pressing them up. As you breathe in, draw your elbows wide and pull them away from your shoulders so as to move the shoulders away from the neck, and lift your chest up for a little back bend here. Looking up towards the hands, breathing in, and as you exhale, press up, draw the chin down. That's it, 2 more. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhale, press away. Another one like that. Good. From here, keep your arms up. Just drop your hands onto your head. And I want you to bring your left hand onto the floor. Drop your right ear down to your right shoulder and stretch into the left side of your neck. Just take 3 deep breaths here. Now this part can also get really tight, especially if we sit or stand all day, staring at a screen, working our jobs, maybe doing manual labor. Sometimes we turn our bodies instead of our necks, and if we do this often enough, we can cause stiffness to build up in the neck. And so this one's really nice. The stretch is really nice to kind of open that up. Take 1 more full breath in. As you exhale, can you see if you can soften your shoulders and your neck a little bit? That's it. And then slide your right hand, the hand that's on top of your head, down to your right ear and lift your head up, just for a bit of support. Remember that we've just started. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Really stretch up as you breathe in. And as you exhale, bring your right hand down. Take your left hand on top of your head and drop your left ear down to your left shoulder. Now, for me on this side, I find I sometimes have a bit of a pinching between the neck and the shoulder on the side that I'm closing into. And if you have this, and to help me get out of it, what I need to do is to relax the left shoulder. Relax it, let it drop down. Just take 3 deep breaths in and out here. Notice if you're holding or gripping anywhere. Can you soften a little bit more? Can you relax a little bit more? Can you stretch a little bit more? Feels so good. Good. From here, after that 3rd exhale, that's feeling real good for me right now. I'm going to drop that left hand to the left side of the head and help the head lift itself up. And then I'd like you to take your hands, interlace them out in front of you. We're going to do 2 more stretches for the neck. Take your hands onto the back of your head. Inhale to lift your head and your chest up. And as you exhale, draw your chest inwards and draw your chin down towards your chest. And let the weight of your arms just bear down, and don't pull down if you can help it. Just let the weight of your arms do the stretching for you. Soften the neck, soften the shoulders. Notice if there's any other space you can soften into. And take 3 deep breaths. Now to come out of this pose, I want you to keep your head down. Just release your hands. Keep your head down though. And bring your hands out in front of you into a prayer position. Extend your thumbs out towards you and bring your thumbs underneath your chin to lift your head up. So you're kind of rising up with the hands, lifting the chin up nice and slow. And once you get here, I want all the work to be done in your hands. I don't want you to use any strength of the neck. Just lift your chin up just the tiniest bit using those thumbs. Take 3 deep breaths in and out. Relax your chin into your thumbs, but keep your hands and your arms and your thumbs steady in that space that they're holding. Just a little counter stretch. 1 more full breath in. And a slow breath out. And then release your hands down to the floor. From here, we're going to take our feet together. If you need to do a couple of circles with the nose to loosen up into the neck, you can. Otherwise, bring your feet together, take a hold of your ankles, and just move your legs a little further away from you. And take a big breath into your belly and your chest. And as you exhale, reach your belly and your chest forward and pull yourself towards your legs. And press your arms into your legs, draw your chin in, and take 3 deep breaths in and out. If you can feel the stretch in the groin or the outsides of the legs or the lower back, you're doing it right. And soften here. Last one. After your exhale, press into your feet, lift yourself up. One more stretch on the floor here before we make our way into our sequences, into our stretching. I want you to lengthen your legs out in front of you, bring your hands beside you, and inhale, stretch your toes back towards you, breathing in. Press into the hands, lift the chest up. As you breathe out, point the toes. Good, and take 2 more rounds of breath like that. So inhale, drawing the toes back, stretching into the backs of the legs. And exhale, pointing. And last one, full breath in. And a full breath out. Nice. And then cross your ankles over, come onto your hands and your knees. And we're going to roll into some cat-cows, but just make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. And then when you're ready, press into your feet, inhale, drop your belly down, open your chest up. As you exhale, press into your hands, your feet, your knees, round your back away from you, draw your chin in towards your chest. Good, do 3 more rounds of breath like that, breathing in, opening up. And exhale, breathing out. And if you need to make or want to make any movements that kind of help you with this, to get yourself into a deeper stretch, then feel free to do so. And take your final round of breath here. Good, then meet back in a neutral tabletop position and just press down into your hands, your feet and your knees. From here, I'd like you to press your front body up towards the ceiling or the sky, just above you. So what I mean by that is to press your pelvis, your belly, your chest and your throat up towards the ceiling as high as you can. And you should start to feel a lift in the spine and a stretch between the shoulders. And draw your chin in towards your neck to lengthen out through the top of the neck and to lengthen out through the spine. And take 2 deep breaths here. Press down a little more into the fingers, the hands and the feet. Take 1 more round of breath. Good, and when you're ready, I want you to keep that back lifted. And I know it's not super fun because it's not dynamic and fast. But it's super important for us to come into this next pose, and that is a plank. And we're going to hold that for 5 breaths. And I encourage you to just lengthen your legs out one at a time. Press your heels back behind you, engage the muscles of your thighs, and press down into your hands and your feet and hold here for 5 breaths. And now, I know it's not fun. Plank's not fun for anyone, myself included, but it's so good for stabilizing and strengthening the muscles around the core, the muscles around the belly and in the back and in the legs. And so just find a bit of strength here. Keep breathing. You've got 3 more breaths. Keep lengthening out through the top of the neck. Keep pressing back through those heels, engaging the thighs. And take your final round of breath in and out. Press into your hands a little more. And then take a full breath in, and as you exhale, move back into your downward facing dog. And just pedal your knees out left to right. Got my socks on, so I'm going to take those off. Make any little stretches you need to make to feel your body opening up in a way that feels good for you. Stretching into the hamstrings, bending one knee, straightening the opposite leg. And when you're ready, take a full breath in, lift your hips and your heels up off the floor. And as you exhale, I want you to press into your hands, ground your heels down and send your hips back. So reach your hips back behind you. Good, take 2 more rounds of breath like that. So inhale, lifting up, reaching the hips up, pressing into the hands, and exhale, grounding the heels down, sending the hips back. Last one, full breath in, and a full breath out. Good. When you're ready, inhale, we're going to lift the hips up again, and this time we're going to roll the hips forward, still keeping them as high as possible into a plank pose. So breathing in. As you exhale, press into your hands, send your hips back, downward facing dog. 2 more. Inhale, roll the hips forward. And exhale, press them back. And final breath here. Inhale, rolling them forward. And exhale, sending them back. Good, and then bend your knees left to right. And from here, walk your feet forward to the top of the mat, into your forward fold. Bring your hands to your thighs. Inhale for a halfway lift. Keep the chin tucked to keep the spine and the neck nice and long. And as you exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. And just sway your hips from side to side and keep a generous bend in the knees. Do a couple of yeses and nos with your head. And when you're ready, press down into the feet. Bring yourself back to a central position. And on a breath in, I want you to press into your feet and roll your spine up. Ragdoll it up into standing. Let your arms hang. Your head relax. And come up to Urdhva Hastasana, a vertical standing position. Sweep your arms up as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, draw your hands down through to your heart center. Good. Inhale, lift your chin up. Exhale, draw your chin down. Inhale, lift your chin up. Exhale, draw your chin down. Last one, full breath in. And exhale, lower it down. Good. From here, inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, interlace your fingers and bring your hands to the back of your neck. So it kind of looks like that. Then we're going to drop our left hand down and bring it onto our left hip, but keep your right hand cupping the back of your neck. Turn your head to look towards your right bicep and lift your right elbow up as you press down into the floor and lean over towards your left side. Good. Once you're in this lateral stretch, a stretch of the side flank of the body, breathe into the right side of the belly, the right side of the chest. Take 2 more breaths here, stretching that right elbow up, expanding into the right side. 1 more. And then inhale, extend your arms up, full breath in. And as you exhale, bring your right hand onto your hip, your left hand onto the back of your neck, and then turn your head to face your left bicep. Good. Inhale, extend your left arm up. And as you exhale, lean over towards that right side. Good. Breathe into the left side of your body, left side of your belly, the left side of your chest. And exhale, tilt a little more. Now, why I like doing this pose here is because cupping the back of the neck supports you as you look over to the left side. And often when we do these stretches or use the neck, it can feel a little bit sore or tight or full of tension to lean in this way. So cupping the hand on the back of the neck offers you a little bit of support. Take one more full round of breath in and out here. And then press into your feet, lift both arms up, reach up to the ceiling, to the sky, and as you exhale, fold yourself all the way down. Inhale for your halfway lift. And from here, we're going to fold ourselves down, plant our hands onto the floor, step back into the plank position and hold here for 3 breaths. And we're going to move differently today. Just for this short sequence we've got, press your back up to the ceiling, take a full breath in. And as you exhale, press your heels back, engage your thighs, extend out through the hands, the fingers. Take 2 more breaths here. And final full breath in. And a full breath out. Good. Once you're there, drop your right heel down to the floor. Lift yourself open to the left side for a side plank. And again, if your neck feels a little sore in this pose, you can take your left hand onto the back of your neck, cup the back of the neck and look up. We're holding in this side plank for 1 more breath. And then I want you to lift your left leg up and step it forward to the top of the mat, like so. And we're going to lift that back heel up off the ground to come into a closed twist. Now, instead of just holding here, if you want, you can drop the back knee down, but instead of just holding here, I want you to press down into that left leg, make it a little harder for yourself. So press the foot down into the floor, press the left leg down into the floor, reach the left arm up. Try to look up towards your left hand. If your neck hurts, cup the back of your neck. And take a couple of breaths here. Press your right heel back behind you. Engage the muscles of your right thigh. 1 more breath. And then from here, sweep your left arm back behind you. Bring it down onto the floor and face yourself forward. Come up onto your fingertips. And then take your left hand between your legs and walk it as far back behind you as you can. Good. You can either hold here or drop the back knee to the floor and then lift your back up to the ceiling by pressing the front body upwards. Take 3 deep breaths here, stretch into the back. Open up the space in the back. Feel that space stretch as you press upwards. 1 more breath. Good, then drop your back knee to the ground. From here, we're going to take that left hand forward and we're just going to sink the hips down. And then inhale, send the hips back. And exhale, send the hips forward, sink them down. Stretching into that right thigh, that right hip. Last one, breathing in and breathing out. Good. One thing we haven't done too much of today is stretch into the hamstring, so that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to flatten the back foot out on the floor, lift yourself up to this vertical position. I've got a windowsill here. You might like to take some bricks. You might even like to just place your hands onto your thighs. To stretch into the hamstring, you can just fold yourself down. Maybe you get your chest close to your thigh, but you're going to be aggravating that quite a bit because we haven't gone into it super far today, super deep today. So instead, what I'd like you to do is keep yourself vertical, just to begin with at least. Press your left heel away from you. So press your left heel away from you the whole time and lift yourself up nice and tall and think of extending out through the top of the head. Imagine a string drawing up from the top of the head and you're trying to make the distance between that heel along the back of the leg and the back of your spine to the top of your head as long as possible. That is how you're going to stretch your hamstring. So to do that, press that heel away, reach up from the top of the head, and instead of curling down and shortening that distance, think of lengthening up and reaching forward and holding here. And if you reach out through the top of the head, you'll notice the stretch moving into the back of the hamstring. If you press that heel away, you might even notice the stretch in your lower back or in your spine. Just keep breathing here. And trust that you don't need to go down super far to get the benefit of the stretch. Take one more breath. Good. After your exhale, bend your front knee. Bring your hands down onto the mat. Tuck your back toes under and lift your left leg back behind you into a three-legged downward facing dog. Good. From here, I want you to bend your left knee and bring your left foot over towards the right side. And just hold here for 3 breaths. Press down into that right foot, into that right heel. And take your final round of breath in and out here. And now you've got the option to flow forward into a plank by dropping that left foot down, or you can come into a three-legged plank by inhaling, lifting up off of that right heel and moving your body forward before dropping your left leg down, lowering yourself down onto your belly. Use your knees if you need to. Inhale up into your cobra. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale to roll down. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, lifting the chest up. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Press the feet down into the floor. And exhale, roll down. Last one, full breath in. And a full breath out. Good. Tuck the toes under. Lift yourself up into a plank or a tabletop as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, come back to a down dog. Nice. Bend the knees left to right. And from here, take a full breath in, lift the hips and the heels up off the floor. And as you breathe out, ground the heels down, send the hips back. Next breath in, roll forward into your plank, breathing in. And as you breathe out, drop the left heel to the floor. Lift your right arm up into your side plank pose. Good. Hold here. Look up if you can. Or cup the back of your neck and hold yourself up that way. 2 more breaths. Last one. Extend your right arm up if it's not lifted, and then reach it back behind you. Step your right foot to the top of the mat and bring your right hand down onto the floor. Lift your left heel up off the floor so that you're in a nice low lunge. Then lift your right arm up, and to make the stretch a little bit harder for yourself, press down into that right foot a little more. Again, cup the back of the neck if you'd like. And just breathe here. The more you press down into that right foot, the more you'll feel it. After your exhale, swing your right arm back behind you. Bring it down onto the floor, and then take your right hand between your legs and walk it as far back as you can. Lift your back up to the ceiling. Press down into your feet for 3 breaths. Stretch into your back. Engage the muscles of that left thigh. Last one. Good, then drop your left knee onto the ground. And from here, bring your hands out in front of you. Come up onto the fingertips. Inhale, send the hips back. Exhale, send the hips forward. Sink them down, stretching into that left thigh. 2 more. Inhale, reaching back. And exhale, reaching forward. And last one, full breath in. And full breath out. Good. From here, press into your hands, lift yourself up into your half Hanumanasana. And again, think of extending out through that right heel and reaching out from the top of the head. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, reach out from the top of the head, reach out through that heel. And when you feel that stretch coming in, I want you to hold there and see if you can deepen your stretch by simply breathing into it. So breathing in a little deeper, exhaling out and relaxing the sensation you're feeling. And if it feels like it's softened, then extend up through the top of the head, extend out through the heel, and stretch a little bit farther. And once you feel it again, just hold there. Take another round of breath. Can you press your heel out a little more, reach out from the top of the head a little more? If it's relaxed, that little bit extra, bring yourself down a little bit further. And hold there, breathe. Good, and when you're ready, in your own time, I want you to bend your front knee, bring your foot flat onto the ground, and take your fingers onto the floor, and then plant your hands down onto your mat, tuck your back toes under, and inhale up into your three-legged down dog, breathing in. And then bend that back knee, open the hips out to the side, and just focus on stretching into that right hip, engaging the muscles of that left thigh. Take one more full round of breath. And exhale. Good. As you're ready, inhale forward into your plank, either three-legged or bring that right foot down for a full plank. And then lower that right foot down to the floor and lower your belly down onto the ground. Use your knees if you need to bring yourself down. Inhale for your cobra. Lift your chest up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Press your feet down. Draw your chin in. And exhale, lower down. 2 more breaths. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, lowering down. And last one, breathing in. And breathing out. Good. Inhale, power up into a plank. You're almost there. Exhale, back to down dog. Bend your knees out left to right. Just notice how your hamstrings feel. So that technique of slowly opening up into the hamstrings can, I find, open them up in a nicer and actually deeper way than just kind of diving in and rolling forward. How do yours feel today? Let's just take a moment of stillness now. So when you're ready, inhale, lift the hips and the heels up off the floor. And exhale, ground the heels down, send your hips back. And just close your eyes here in your down dog. Take 3 rounds of breath and just notice how you're feeling, how you're doing, how your body's feeling, and where your mind's at. Then take 1 more round of breath and just follow your breath. Follow it in and out. And then bend the knees left to right. Inhale, lift the hips and the heels up off the floor. As you exhale, drop your knees to hover above the mat and send your hips back. So you're in a kind of lifted child's pose. Look at your hands, empty your lungs of air, and then hop your feet to your ankles. If you can't do that, I'd like you to just step your way there into your Malasana pose. Almost done. We're just going to finalize the practice by doing a little bit of a stretch into the hips. So bring the arms onto the insides of the knees. Bring your fingertips gently towards one another and start to press your arms out as you press your knees in. Do your best to soften into the hips and take 3 deep breaths. Just notice the state of your lower body, the state of your hips. And let's feel them soften for this last breath in and out. Good, and then really gently extend your right arm out onto the ground and come up onto the right fingertips. And then press your right arm into your right knee and twist yourself to the left. Good, and the way to deeper twist, the way to twist deeper is to press your right arm and your right knee into one another and extend your left arm up. Now if it hurts to look up to that hand, Probably guessed it, we're going to take that left hand onto the back of the neck and just look in the direction you're trying to twist to. Just take 3 deep breaths here. And then slowly release back to center. Nice and easy. Bring your arms together, your hands together rather. Extend your left arm out. Twist over towards your right side. Extend your right arm up. 3 breaths. Good, and then slowly come back to center. Bring the palms together, take a full breath into the belly and the chest. And as you exhale, lower your hands down. Let's do one more stretch into the calves. I'd like you to face forward, bring your knees together, and then bring your knees down onto the floor and step your ankles together. And just press into your hands. And so this is a stretch into the backs of the feet to begin with. And see if you can bring your hands back towards your knees and lift your knees up off the floor. Find a little bit of a balance here. And just hold yourself in this vertical position. You'll start to feel it in the calves, I promise. Let's take 3 deep breaths. See if you can hold your balance here. Last one. And the closer your feet are together, the harder this is. Good, and then drop your hips down onto the floor behind you. Ooh. Extend your legs out in front of you. And from here, we're going to inhale to sweep our arms up. And as you exhale, reach your hands forward, forward, forward. And bring them down. And yeah, maybe you touch the feet. But instead of doing that today, I'd like you to just take your hands onto your legs. And once again, lift up through the spine, lift up through the top of the head. Press your heels away from you and lengthen. And as you exhale, think of tilting from the hips. When you feel that stretch, hold there. Just breathe 3 deep breaths in and out. Relax your shoulders and your neck. Keep lengthening through the head and out through the heels. Good, and then lift yourself up to a nice vertical position. Interlace your fingers, index fingers pointing out in front of you. Take a breath into the front of the body. And as you exhale, roll your spine down, nice and slow, vertebrae by vertebrae until you come onto your back. Good, let's do one last little stretch here. Bring the knees inwards. Feet flat on the floor. I'm going to slide down here so you can see me. And I'd like you to lift your knees into your chest, give them a gentle squeeze to begin with. And notice how your lower back stretches a little bit when you do that. Then bring your feet flat onto the floor. And bring your left ankle onto your right knee. And just press your left leg away from you. Notice if that is a stretch that's deep enough for you. You can even lift up off of that right heel to deepen it. If you need something else, just keep your left hand on your left leg and bring your right hand behind your right thigh or around the right shin and draw it in. And if that still doesn't do it for you, then you can draw that right leg into the chest. And just breathing. Final round of breath here. And then release your feet down onto the ground. Take your right ankle onto your left leg and draw your left leg in nice and close. And you might even find that for this side, just pressing into that right leg is enough, or holding onto the left foot, the left shin rather, and pressing into that right leg is enough, or you might need to go to that full extent and draw that left leg in. One more round of breath here. And then slowly release your feet down onto the ground. And extend your legs out onto the floor. Bring your hands down onto your belly and your chest. And take 3 deep breaths in and out. And just make whatever adjustments you need to make to get comfortable in your Shavasana position. We'll just be here for 1 minute to 2 minutes. Breathe in, let your belly and your chest rise up, and exhale all of the air out of your lungs. Find a flow to your breath. And just enjoy the way that your body feels right now, the openness, the spaciousness. And if you're feeling any sense of tightness or tension, then focus your mind on that space and breathe into it. And as you exhale, feel it soften. Feel it relax, even just a little bit. And if you're happy to keep breathing like this, then feel free to do so. And if you'd like to practice the technique of observing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, then feel free to do that. Just noticing where those thoughts derive from, where they originate. Keep the breath rolling in and out. Let's take 3 more deeper rounds of breath here. If you've got an intention you'd like to reflect back on, then you can. And when you're ready, just start to wriggle your fingers and your toes. And on a breath in, reach your arms back behind you, stretch your feet out. And then exhale, draw your knees onto your chest. Give them a squeeze inwards, lift your chin up off the floor. Reach your head towards your legs before rolling over onto your right side. Just take a breath in and out here and feel yourself soften for a moment longer. And when you're ready, just gently bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. And ground down into your feet and your sitting bones one more time. And then bring your hand onto your belly and your chest, and let's just ground back into the sense of ourselves and into how we're doing and the effects of the practice on our bodies and our minds. 3 breaths. you're ready, you can inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale your hands down through to your heart center. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed the class and the practice, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a lovely night or evening wherever you are. Namaste.